Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. Guys, we're going to do a bit of speculation here because I feel like we are due a guaranteed champion event. And I feel like we're due one like really soon. In fact, I feel like we're overdue a guaranteed champion event. So let's get into some of the research that I've been doing and I guess try and predict what's coming next. Some people actually prefer the guaranteed champion events over the kind of normal shard pool stuff that we have. So I've started to plot some of this stuff out alongside our kind of normal shard events. And pretty much up here at the top, I've been plotting out when we get our 2 times shard pool events. Because quite often, they either like to deplete our shards before a big shard pool event, or they like to have us deplete our shards for a shard pool event and then drop like an absolute banger of an event. So it's kind of one of 2 ways that they tend to do this. But I've been plotting out all of the different guaranteed champion events that there's ever been in Raid. And I've just been kind of like correlating it against the different ×2 shard events that they do on a regular basis. So you can see at the top here, when the ×2 events roll, they're always on a consistent, every 2 weeks you go Ancients, Voids, Sacreds, and it rolls around again. So we always know when they're going to happen, okay? Now, the guaranteed champion events, they started off quite sporadic. They actually came into the game like early 2021. We got Countess Lix as like the first ancient shard event. And then we kind of had this spatter, I think, of testing. Does this work? Are they gaining good cash from it? Is it something that they want to continue? So they had a kind of sacred event in June. Then they had a kind of small void one for an epic in June as well. They had an ancient one for an epic in July, which, by the way, was Geomancer. If you weren't playing the game back then, how much would you have liked to get yourself Geomancer guaranteed after 40 ancient shards? That's almost like pulling a legendary at that point. But then you can see from here on in, it starts to get a bit more regular. Yeah, we're almost getting every 2 months at least. In fact, more frequently than that, honestly, a guaranteed legendary from Ancient Shard. So we had Kimi in September. Then we had Vizier in November. Then we had another one in November with Genzin. December, we got Gamaran. We then kind of waited a couple of months for Archbishop. Then it felt like a good kind of... Then it feels like they've kind of fallen into this 6 weeks. Gamaran, Archbishop, Rathmatab, Candy, Ragash, Gothred. So I can see the end of October there being an Ancient Shard guaranteed champion. It feels that way to me based on history, yeah? And it also feels like they've kind of dipped between the lowest we've seen, 111 Ancients, but more frequently it's about 150 Ancient Shards to get yourself the legendary. Somewhere close to that tends to be the better champions 150, and then the slightly weaker champions somewhere upwards of 120. So if you're thinking, should I be saving for this? Well, you know what? You guarantee yourself a champion, plus you're pulling shards at the same time. It's actually pretty decent to go for these. And honestly, like one of the things that got me wondering about this was the free-to-play. I was checking yesterday, and I'm up to 116 Ancient Shards. We've got a 2 times Ancient Shard normal kind of summoning event coming next week. So I was thinking to myself, do I want to be pulling shards on the free-to-play next week on that 2 times event, or should I just be holding these for the next guaranteed champion on the free-to-play? And it's actually quite a difficult decision. I don't know, what do you think? If you're in this position, what do you do? Because some of these guaranteed champions are actually pretty damn sexy. Candy would be absolutely insane on the free-to-play. Ragash would have been insane as well. Not so much the Archbishop, although he was decent. Gothred, decent, but not crazy. Rathmatab, not so great. Gamaran, absolute trash. Genzin, decent, but not insane. Vizier, decent, not insane. So you kind of got this group of... Then you've got like Lady Kimmy, absolutely bonkers. And Countess Lix, top tier. So it's a real kind of like, what are you going to get out of these guaranteed events? Sometimes they're great, sometimes they're not. But it feels like to me, by the end of October, which also falls in line with Halloween, potentially we've got another guaranteed champion. And is it going to be one of the new champions? Now, we're already seeing some kind of like portraits coming into game code. This feels pretty Halloween-y to me. Obviously, I've got no other details other than a picture. but we've seen a few new kind of portraits coming into the game code on our end. So it does feel like they're getting themselves tiered up for a Halloween launch. Are we going to see a guaranteed Ancients falling in line with that Halloween launch with the new champions? Sometimes they do new champions, but not that often. Rathmatab was pretty new. Archbishop was new. I think Damaran had been around for a little while. So it's kind of a bit hit and miss again in terms of what they do with that. But if I had to bet money, I would say by the end of October, we will have a guaranteed Ancients. And if you look here, they're normally very close to the 2 times Ancient events. For the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cycles, they've been extremely close. You know, you've got this one here, 2nd of September. The Dothred actually came in on the same time, which is really unusual. But you had the Ragash just before, you had the Candy just after, Rathmatab just after. So it feels like there could be maybe a week or so after the 2 times Ancients, which are due next week, a guaranteed Ancient champion. Okay, and if we look at some of the other different ones then, so Sacreds, just before. This one's kind of come in the middle. This one's come almost out of sync. I think we're expecting it early July. And then, again, I think a lot of people were expecting to see a guaranteed Sacred champion probably around the time that we got Turvold. Yeah, mid-August. We've actually had, February, April. So, again, it's like a 6-week lag, probably more like a 2-month lag. And then we are well overdue a guaranteed champion from Sacred Shards. Like, I thought we would have had it around the last guaranteed Sacreds, either before or just after. So it feels like that is well overdue as well, based on everything that we normally see from Raid. And with Sacreds, it's pretty much bob on 15. Yeah, you've had a 12. Honestly, when I look at some of these champions, I'm like, where was I? I must have been on holiday during the Necmo one, because that would have been a champion I absolutely would have wanted. And I didn't do the Sakia one. And I'm like, damn, why did I not do those 2 champions? I didn't do the Riho either. And I'm like, damn. Like, these are champions on my main that I absolutely would love to have. So, you know, I feel like getting ready for this is actually really important. Certainly if you're an endgame account and you're trying to get, you know, guaranteed champions. But it feels like for the Sacreds one, you're pretty much looking at needing 15, even on the free-to-play. I mean, we just pulled a few Sacreds. I've only got 6, so I'm quite a way off of that. And if it was to fall, as I think it will within the next few weeks, then, damn, we're going to need some luck from these chests on the free-to-play. It's not bad, but it's not what we're after, you know? So, yeah, it's kind of hard to top up to 15, honestly, especially if you're doing fusions. I'm not doing this current fusion, so gives me a bit of breathing space. But the last one we want to look at then is Voids. So Voids are definitely less frequent, yeah, and they're a much harder type of champion to get, I guess. But we kind of had a couple of spits of, you know, epic, and a cold heart. I'm sure they should do that again, honestly. But it feels like they were just kind of testing the water with Voids. They definitely see Voids as their kind of like top tier currency of champion. We've only had a Riho back in April and then a Turvold in August. So I'm not expecting to see another Void one for a while, honestly. It came like in between Voids. You had 1, 2, 3 cycles in between. Probably expecting another cycle here. So I'd imagine around Christmas, we would see the next Void one. And again, it's a guess, just based on what they're doing with them. But it feels like Voids is unlikely. But I don't know, guys. What do you think? Are you expecting to see a guaranteed Ancients event coming up maybe next week or the week after? And equally, a guaranteed Sacreds event? And is this something now that you save for because you feel like they're more value, more guaranteed value than the other shard events that happen in the game? I'm pretty keen to hear your thoughts, but I feel like they're going to launch 2 guaranteed, and I feel like they're going to be based on Halloween type of champions. It might be that they actually go with, you know, old Halloween champions. If they don't launch it on the new ones, it might be that they're kind of like throwing it out there on, you know, champions like your Brachus or your Little Miss Annie or someone like that. I don't know. But again, comment below. What do you think? Anyway, just a bit of speculation for today. I've been Hell Hades. I'll see you later.